I've been making videos on YouTube for around 10 years now, and I've never made anything quite like this. I'm going to be talking through and showing you clips throughout my fitness journey for the last year or so, a bit longer than a year. A lot of people have kind of asked me what I get up to, and I've never really posted too much about it, and I kind of want to motivate some other people to do what I've kind of begun doing, and some of the benefits of it, how I've gone about it, and the results that I've seen, and some comparisons from when I started, or even before I started, to where I am now. So before we get into this, I just want to clarify, I'm no expert in this realm. I'm not claiming this is the best way to make changes to yourself. I'm just going to talk about what I've done and kind of what I've seen from it, and hopefully to some people that's useful and they can kind of apply that to their own lives and see some improvements that they want to see. So first of all, let's talk about what kind of motivated me and inspired me to start exercising and kind of working out, lifting weights, just becoming a better version of myself. And there's one real kind of key moment that really pushed me into getting this done, and that is when I was skiing at the start of last year, and I took a fall that, I'm going to be honest, wasn't a very terrible fall.
50 quid if you land a 360.
Doing it with the backpack, this is the dumbest fuck idea, let's go.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
My shoulder's really fucking hurting after that one. I completely snapped my collarbone in half and had to go to hospital and deal with all of that.
How you feeling, Vic?
Not awful. I think the painkillers from earlier are starting to hit. Not looking forward to this, but we live.
And that kind of told me in a way that was kind of, quite dramatic, that hey, you're a little bit frail, you're a little bit weak, and you should have been fine, kind of thing. And actually, it's not really a fair kind of comparison to make, but this is me right after I came out of surgery, and you can just see how like skinny, skin and bones that I really was. And now you've got to remember, I'd always been this way. I used to swim a whole lot when I was younger, when I was at school, so that was like 4 or 5 times a week. So that kind of encouraged me to have that skinny frame, because all I was doing was essentially cardio a bunch of times, and I never used to eat. That was my biggest issue. So you've got me kind of thinking, this is how I've always looked, this is who I am, and me saying that I don't eat a lot. And those were the first kind of 2 things that I needed to change. I needed to go, I was probably eating 1.5 to 2 meals a day. I would have like cereal and maybe a sandwich, and other than that, I'd sit at my computer all day making 4, 5, 6 YouTube videos a day and not do a whole lot else, which obviously was terrible for my physical health. I went on occasional runs, like maybe the odd 20-minute run, but it wasn't really enough to kind of spark any sort of change. First thing I did is I made a plan to exercise pretty much every other day, and while I've missed, a few days here and there, I would say for the last year and a bit, I've been consistently exercising every other day. And after a few weeks, as I always say, that's kind of how long it takes for it to go from being something you plan just to part of your normal routine and habit. And now I find it really easy. You'll hear people say like, now when I don't exercise, it feels weird and not right, and it's the same with me. So once you get into that habit, it becomes a whole lot easier. But doing that on its own wasn't going to yield any kind of changes. Again, just to emphasize how different I looked then to how I look now, you can see right now, these are some clips of me just from videos, and you can see just even my face was like so much thinner. My haircut was a mess, I can't say that helped at all. But as you can just see, like, the football kit in this video is hanging off me. Vic!
Do 3 unpaid workers!
And I know that was a long time ago, but that was the person that I was, and I didn't really see it, as anything out of the normal. And then on the other side, another thing that motivated me was seeing JJ's full physical transformation for his Joe Weller boxing fight, and seeing how in such a little time he'd achieved so much. We actually trained to do Tough Mudder together. And although that was years before, I remember that, me and JJ were struggling to like run 2 kilometers. That's the kind of level of fitness that we had. And I think it's fair to say we've both come a long way from there. So being around him, training at that time, him training in the house, and his personal trainer at the time, Dida, also kind of encouraging me to join in, come and get involved, do some training, change myself, was the push that I needed to get involved. And pretty much from that point, around 1.5 years ago, I decided I was going to start working out every other day, and I've managed that almost without fail since then, I've been, you know, with the occasional few days off, pretty much it's been every other day since then. I probably could have done every day, but I didn't want to burn myself out on it and kind of balancing the busy, you know, lifestyle that I have with making content. It worked out well for me to kind of put my all in every other day and then have a rest day the next day. So I started working out every other day and also eating significantly more. I made sure to kind of order myself. I was getting like pre-made meals from some that were home cooked, some that were just ready meals from M&S, but they were kind of nutritionally balanced. They were the healthy ones, not the nice ones at the time. And I would make sure I would eat 2 of those a day along with cereal, and also weight gainer shakes were very, very key for me. So the thing that was interesting is before I was actually working out, I couldn't physically eat more than 2 meals a day just because I wasn't burning any energy, so there wasn't any, you know, want for my body to actually build that appetite. So it was only when I started kind of working out every other day that I could increase it to 3 meals a day, and then I made sure I was having like weight gainer protein shakes on top of that every day, and that really allowed me to go from, as I said, I was 55 kilograms at the start, and over the course of the first kind of 5-6 months, I bulked up to 65 kilograms. And during this time, I was just focusing on weightlifting, you know, strength. I was just eating as much as I physically could, just stuffing myself, lifting as heavy weights as I could at the time, and just working on that day in, day out. And it got to a point where I would describe myself as fluffy. I was a bit chubby. That's when the thick star 1, 2, 3 memes came about. And you can see in this footage here, I'm definitely on the rounder side, because obviously I had to put on fat and muscle at the same time, and I wasn't particularly happy, but I knew it was just kind of a phase. And I'm gonna also claim, you know, the wide angle camera, me at the edges of it, maybe enhanced it, or maybe that's just what I told myself. But I knew it was kind of a phase I had to get through, and I put on 10 kilograms in around 6 months, so that was progress for me, and I knew eventually I would have to, you know, cut down on that fat, and that was kind of the next 6 months or so. Also, I thought it might be interesting to go over a typical gym session for me, what it looks like, what I do. I remember when I very first started, I would go into a gym and I'd be like, okay, what am I supposed to do? So it starts off with some warm-up exercises, stretches, just to make sure I don't injure myself doing anything else. Then I'll usually do 3 sets of 4 different exercises, often just kind of spread out across the body, because I'll usually have a rest day in between my sessions. So it'll look something like this, just a series of exercises. Now, please don't just go and copy this. Go and look at how an expert does these. I'm not claiming to be anything remotely close to that. I'm just giving an idea of what I do. So in between sets like this, I'll have a 2-minute rest, and then I'll move on to a different one. And then if I have any energy left at the end of a session, I'll throw in some HIIT, high intensity interval training, which is pretty much just going as hard as you can at something for 30 seconds, resting for 30 seconds, then going again for 30 seconds, just to get your heart rate as high as possible, just to increase stamina and burn fat, I guess. And then an hour and a half or so after I started training, I'll do some stretches and job done. In the second half, so when I got to 65 kilograms, I was like, okay, it's time to add some cardio into this routine. So it would either be weight training one day, cardio the next day, or it would even be like 3 days. It would be a weight training day, rest day, cardio day, weight training, in that kind of cycle. I never like to mix the two too much. And in the cardio, it would be a lot of kind of interval sprints where you sprint for 20 seconds, then you walk for 40 seconds, sprint for 20, walk for 40. I really enjoyed just doing incline walk, where you just put the treadmill to the maximum incline, set it to quite a low speed, but you just kind of walk. And I could do that for a long time. I could do that for like half an hour, 40 minutes without kind of burning myself out too massively. And that was another kind of method. And then above and beyond that, using the cross trainer, rowing, those were the main things I was doing on those cardio days. And now I weigh around 59, 60 kilograms. And I have relatively the same strength now as I did back then. I can still bench press 60 kg. And here's another comparison from before to after. This is the first Sidemen strength test. I'm actually the #1 Indian weightlifter.
I can't even see his legs.
So yeah, you could see kind of before I started anything, I failed a 50 kg bench press. We went from 30 to 50. I probably would have failed 40 too, and then obviously afterwards, when I was at my kind of peak weight at 65 kg, I could do this. It weighs more than I weighed the last time we filmed this video.
But now I'm fixed though. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Yep. And that's up. Easy.
And that is me bench pressing 60 kg, which I can still do now. I could probably push to 65, maybe at this point, and I'm 5 kilograms lighter than I was then, which would suggest that I've kind of kept the same muscle that I had then. I've just lost 5 kilograms of fat since then, or around that mark. So now we have the bit you've all been waiting for, the physical comparison. Now, I didn't actually take any videos at the start because I wasn't actually planning on getting this far or any of this happening. But what I do have is these clips from a little behind the scenes of the Sidemen movie trailer, if you remember that video. And I was in the boxing scene, kind of ironic now after all the boxing stuff has progressed even further. But you can really see here with my shirt off how kind of, I would describe it as like skinny fat. Like, I've got no muscle and only a little bit of fat, but it just hangs off my body. It's not very nice to look at, and when you see that here, like, side by side with now, this is what I'm looking like right now. If you see these comparisons, you can see that I've actually managed to kind of dramatically change my physique in a year. I'm obviously nowhere near where I want to be, but there isn't any kind of, set target. It's just constantly improving myself that I really enjoy and find really rewarding. I'm now going to shoot down to the gym with Dida, and we're going to find some old videos he took of me at the very start of my training and see what I could do then, and then compare that with what I'm able to do now. So I'm now in the gym with Dida. We're going to be going back in time and looking at the first video you ever recorded of me actually doing anything with weights. We started off with conditioning for the charity match, but now you can pull up your phone and let's have a look.
Let's see.
What we're doing. I can't remember what I was lifting at the start, but it was significantly different in now.
So the first exercise was a very strength and conditioning based sort of workout, so let's get on it.
This is me doing snatches with, what is that, 7.5 I think?
Yeah, 7.5
There's
kilos.
another video of this one.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Man, looks so much smaller.
Yeah, so my arms are there. Oh, okay, that's just me. Of the one. Okay.
No, but you're like literally double the size of
you
the
can
man. Yeah.
really see a difference. And I have to like properly recover in between. Okay, so that was with 7.5.
Yeah.
Now, I think I can probably do it with like 16 or 18. Well, we'll see.
Let's go 20.
Okay,
Let's go 20.
Always push. Alright, let's give this a shot. Back then, it was 7.5 kilograms. Now we're working with 18 kilograms, so double and a bit more. Let's see if we can get this going. Alright, here we go. There we go, there's one. I think I could probably do 20, but obviously you've got to keep the reps in the full. So there we go. Now what we'll do is we'll do a side-by-side comparison. So that's old me, this is current me. See the difference? There we go. There we go.
The next exercise is the traditional press up. Now, if you look at it now,
This is going to be messy.
in the past,
And this was at the end of a killer set. It was like one of my first ever sets, so I remember I was gone. But yeah, I just could barely even keep my back.
but now that's one of your specialities, doing press ups.
Let's start with normal press ups. These are going to be much easier for me to do. I can actually have a conversation while doing them rather than collapsing onto the floor now.
So now to see if we can get like a number out of how much I've improved on press ups. We're going to see if I can do one with one hand, essentially meaning twice as good at doing these. So I'm going to have to balance myself here.
That's one, good. Two. I got another one. You.
There we go. That's the result. So next up we have unilateral rows. You can see that I think that's again 7.5 is my favourite weight to do things with. And my neck is suffering.
Suffering upper back development
Yeah.
isn't as good as it is now. So yeah.
That was a struggle early on. It's like none of the muscles were developed, so it just everything hurt. Nothing could really like help individual muscles work, which is I think why a lot of it was more like functional.
Absolutely, and yeah, I think now you can double the weight.
Oh, and some more. I think we could. Should we try and triple it in a
Let's
bit?
triple it.
So 7.5. Let's go for 26. Let's triple in a bit.
Let's do it. I think that'll be a PB. Let's go for it.
Alright. So I've decided we're actually going to go for 4 times the weight that I was doing just over a year ago. So we've got 30 kg here, and let's go and do some pulls. What are these called? What's the actual name?
Unilateral rows.
Okay, unilateral rows. Alright. Let's go for it here. Yeah.
Easy. stabilize that back. Pull that scap.
There we go. Woo. And that was 4 times the weight. Another improvement. Okay, here we have skinny bit. Good hammer fill. 7.5 wasn't a bad point.
It wasn't terrible, but you
Look at the
can
neck. Look at the skinny neck. I look like a chicken. Alright.
stuff it up. But yeah, now I think you can do double, bro, or close to double.
Okay, we'll try it. I think 12 if I want to like have the right form. I think 14 I'd be like swinging them around a bit.
I think
Let's try that.
I think this is just to emphasize your strength, but for this exercise you don't need to go terribly high.
Yeah.
It's just to emphasize strength.
Okay, so 7.5 before. Now we are on to 12, as you can see. See how these go. So, there we go.
Yeah, don't move there. Isolate. Those biceps work.
One more for good luck.
Good luck.
There we go.
Woo. All right, we've got the shoulder press now.
7.5 again, my favorite weight.
7.5. We're just maintaining that weight throughout every exercise, and now you're gonna see double.
What do we
weight.
think? What do we think? So, double 15, call it 16?
Yeah, let's go 16. I think you can go more than double. So.
Okay, let's go. Time for 16, which is still, it's not easy by any means, but
Probably go higher with that. Right now. That'll
do. More PBs, more PBs. Up here we've got chest press. That was definitely one of my strengths. The swimming skills I think came into that a little bit. So I'm doing 12 and a half,
Yeah.
which again, what we're thinking, double and a bit more.
Double in a bit more. This is one of your strengths, so I think you can go really high.
Okay, 26 we'll attempt. Let's see. Alright, chest press with 26. The biggest struggle is actually getting these up, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. Alright, let's get one up.
Oh, there we go.
Alright, in place. Alright. See if we feel this.
3, 2, 1, up.
Oh, there we go.
You can go higher to the person. Get to 5, get to 5. 2 more. Up, 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 up. Good. 1 more. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And relax.
Let's go for 6.
6. Jeez. Big bit, big bit.
Ah, there we go.
Nice.
Woo.
Okay guys, this is a compound-based exercise. It's called renegade row. So you're hitting your chest and your back predominantly.
We're doing 5 kg on each hand here. To be fair, this is about 2 months into when I started actually using weights, but I think we can we'll go with doubling a bit more, so let's try from 5 kg to 14 kg. Okay, so 14 was a little ambitious, I could do them, but they're messy, and that's, I guess, how I would injure myself. So we're gonna stick with 12, which is still 2 and a bit times, what we were doing, and let's do some renegade rows.
Lovely. Really easy.
Nice.
And there we have it. There is a physical evidence of what I've managed to achieve through a year and a bit of just consistently training, and not training super hard. It's not like I'm there every day for hours on end. It's like I've been kind of balancing this with the whole rest of my life, but I've been really happy with the results, and I'm hopefully going to continue seeing those over the coming months and years. So that is all for this video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed a little insight into what I've been up to outside of my YouTube video making and gaming. And hopefully it inspires some of you. It just gives you that little extra push that you needed to go from thinking like, hey, I'd like to start making exercise a regular thing, to someone who's like, all right, I'm gonna go and do it now because I feel so much better. I sleep better. I feel like I'm generally happier. It's obviously exercising, working out, achieving kind of improvements, even beating my own personal best. It's just that little endorphin rush. It's a new area to kind of conquer for me. And I'm really enjoying the whole process, and would urge anyone else, if you can make the changes to your lifestyle to start doing this, then by all means give it a shot. You're going to see improvements regardless, and what you can achieve is limitless. So that is all for today. Leave your comments down below, thoughts, critiques, advice, anything of that matter, and I'll see you all on my next video. Thanks and goodbye.